Hello, this is part 2. At this point, I'd moved back to my hometown into a second floor flat. Prior to moving, at the address where I was experiencing all this harassment, the next door neighbour, who was organising a lot of it and taking part in it, he had a visitor called, I heard him referred to as Deli, and he had an Irish accent. And this Deli asked this neighbour, "Have you been to her flat yet?" And the man replied that he hadn't, and he said, this Deli said that it'll be in, and he named my hometown. On the day I moved into my flat, I was coming up the stairs, and a man was coming down the communal stairs who I recognised as being a visitor to the next door neighbours where the harassment was coming from, 5 miles away. Very distinctive looking man. He has a thin bony face, bony cheekbones, long thin bony nose, cold grey eyes, very very pale skin, bald head, and he's wearing a high visibility jacket. I go upstairs to the flat and knock on the door. There's a sign on the door where he appears to have come from. This is later on. There's a sign on the door, asbestos removal in progress. This is a council flat. I do know council flats are refurbished very frequently, and that asbestos was removed in the 80s. So why was that sign on this door? I later saw at that same flat window, which is a council flat, the son of the man from the previous address 5 miles away. So you have the visitor from the previous address 5 miles away coming down the stairs on the day I move in. And also on the day I move in, from the window, the son from 5 miles away, where I was getting the harassment. What is interesting is, how did they get access to a council flat in the same block that I'd moved into? How did they do that? Also, that evening in my new flat, the man and his wife, Andrea, and a man with an Irish accent, and a woman who I've heard referred to as Lil. I've actually seen her on other occasions, but more on that later. Turned up outside my house, and they gave threats. They said my name, my dead cat's name, and then the man from the previous address said that he would drive me all the way to Blackpool. He would follow me till his boots fell off. I rang the police. You can hear the banging from upstairs. That's one of the upstairs flats. There's a lot of harassment coming from there in the form of noise. And the man, the asbestosnosis and all that. However, you can hear the banging. You'll probably hear it throughout the audio recording. You just get used to it. So, this PC that I rang came to my house, and he asked me who was in my flat when I rang him. I told him it was just myself. He told me he heard a man in the background repeating what I said. I said, well, there was nobody here, so perhaps my phone is bugged. And then he asked me if I was well. I felt like saying, hang on a minute, you're the one hearing this man's voice on the phone, repeating things after me. You're the one hearing the voice. I didn't hear the man. Are you well? So I thought, I'm not going to get much help from the police. The night after that, the son of the harassers from 5 miles away turned up, and this will give an insight into their mentality. There's a path not far away from my window, and some houses. He walked behind the houses, and I presume he was there. That's where it was coming from. And there was all this usual shouting, buzzwords to get my attention, etc. Then he said, "Do you want some more evidence?" And he played a part of the recording of me crying. See the banging again upstairs. He played a part of the recording of me crying the night I found my cat dead. So he said, "Do you want some more evidence?" And he played that. If you listen to part 1, you'll know they obtained a recording of me crying the night I found my cat dead. So that happened. 2 women completely unknown to me with pushchairs used to walk up the path, and one would shout to the other if she was somewhere behind. All that over a dead cat. Bit of a coincidence, don't you think? And another thing they used to say was, all that over a booted pussy. A man with an Irish accent used to say that. A young lad, we killed Joe, and he would say my dead cat's name, for dope. I'd also heard that from the flat upstairs as well. We killed Joe, my cat's name, for dope. So the harassment, it seemed to be they'd gone to a lot of trouble